Sound to your mind.
Breathe. I stay quiet as I light on my loud light. Breathe. I balance diet, I'm just trying to get my pounds right. Breathe. I stay quiet as I light on my loud light. Breathe. I balance diet, I'm just trying to get my pounds right. Shouts all on my team, I need more than a mattress support. In my dreams, could grab a few Z's like I'm falling asleep, but I don't wanna wake for the morning. Grief, breathe. Tears drop to the form in the sea. I broke heart, but it's worn in my sleeve. Never listened, I was warned in my teens, but I still skipped school, I was taught in the streets. Ring back, don't call for police. Stand tall, don't fall for the beast. Got issues with trust, so I'm born to believe. We've been a victim of love and now we're caught in it deep. Breathe.
Yes, people, what's happening? And welcome back to GavGoesIn. Big up yourselves. Big up to Foxy Danny each and every time. Big up, big up. Hope you guys are having a good Saturday. So yeah, listen, this is what I wanted to do, you know. And guys, I want you to rank them in order as well, these players. Big up to Babs One Diva each and every time as well. Back with another banger. Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. As I said, I want you guys to rank these players in order as well in terms of these midfielders, you know. And as the title says, is this the midfield standard, you know, in 2026? For me, you're looking at, you know, the best midfielders in the world, no doubt. You know, I mean, there are other players that, you know, certain fans will try and force into the conversation. But I mean, for me, as in terms of central midfielders right now, I can't look past Eduardo Camavinga. I know he's been out injured, but for me, he's still up there. Pedri, Vitinha, Moises Caicedo, and someone that probably wasn't, you know, going to be spoken about as much, Sandro Tonali. So yeah, man. And Fitz has already got his big up Fitz. He's already got his order in. Cama, Pedri, Vitinha, Tonali, Caicedo. Listen, this is a very tough list. As I said, you know, I think a lot of people would be having different opinions on this one. I think actually for me, yeah, I'm actually torn between who my order is, because I think whoever is bottom of the list, for me, it's not a bottom. It's just that it's high quality of players, you know what I mean? And even Fitz saying Caicedo at 5th. I mean, really, is Caicedo 5th? That's the thing. That is how hard this is, because, you know, for me, Caicedo can easily be 2nd or 3rd, you know what I mean? Because he's got an all-round game in it. So yeah, it's not easy, man. But I hear that. As I said, we're gonna go through a couple of the information, the numbers, and then obviously we're gonna try and see. I mean, I want to give you my list as well, just based off of that. So, but yeah, this is a difficult list. It's a difficult list, but let's go through it anyway, and then we are going to get onto some Man United talk as well, in regards to the game tomorrow against Aston Villa. So, Moises Caicedo, guys. So from this season, you know, he's got 3 goals and 1 assist in 2,046 minutes. You know, virtually an ever-present for Chelsea. You know, and as I said, for me, Moises Caicedo is definitely one of the best midfielders in the world. For me, he's the best midfielder in the Premier League. You know, I've been saying that for a while. You know, for me, it was Rodri, but Rodri's obviously got to get back up to speed. But he can definitely be up there again. And but I think consistently, in terms of, you know, big match performances, Caicedo's definitely there for me. 233 tackles and 104 interceptions since joining Chelsea in 2025. 8 yellow cards, 1 red card. You know, so someone that plays in the position that he plays in, you know, he has been playing quite deep, quite defensive. But to have 8 yellow cards and 1 red card, that's actually good, very good. You know, I mean, the 1 red card came actually against Arsenal, funny enough. You know, which I actually think was quite harsh. You know, because I think he actually slipped when he collided with, I think it was Mikel Merino. He has one of the highest defensive work rates in the league. And as I said, like someone that is adept attacking wise and defensive. And what I would say about Caicedo is that I think out of all the midfielders in world football, he is someone that is as good defensively as he is attacking wise from what I've seen. So yeah, I definitely do think he deserves his place in this difficult list. And as I said, even if he's in fourth place, it's not really, I mean, in fifth place, as Fitz already said, man, it's not fifth place really, because the list is that hard to kind of compile, man, to get these players in. But yeah, he's a top player. One of my favorites, Pedri, 2 goals, 10 assists between 13 to 18 games for Barcelona this season. And again, an absolute magician with the ball. If you look at the fact that, he's arguably, Barcelona's most important player, I would say, with Lamine Yamal, and again, when he was out injured, they sort of were stuttering. Obviously, he's come back, just picking off from where he left off. And yeah, top player, man. Leads the league in key passes, 55, and successful dribbles, 35, and then 89% passing accuracy. Again, I would have thought he would have had a higher pass accuracy, really, for the kind of player that he is. But that's still high anyway, in 89%. But as I said, Pedri's a top player, man. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's someone that is just of genuine world-class ability. I think if there's anyone that thinks he isn't, then yeah, it's mad, because he's just someone of just genuine world-class ability for me. And there's no debate on that. Eduardo Camavinga, again, someone that's been spoken about, quite recently. Obviously being linked to Manchester United, and I'm just praying that we get this over the line, because I know people get on to Camavinga about his injury record, which again isn't great. But I think when you're hearing that the likes of Camavinga is being linked, for what, 50 million euros, which is 45 million pounds, we have to be all over that, man, as Manchester United, and as I said, I'm someone that's always consistently said we need to go and get Baleba. If we can get Adam Walton as well. I think the Elliot Anderson one, I don't see that happening, but I'd be happy with Baleba, with Tonali, and Adam Walton. But Camavinga coming into the mix, it changes it for me, because if it meant us getting 3 midfielders and you're getting Camavinga instead of Baleba, I'd be happy with that, because Camavinga's that good for me. And if we was to get a Camavinga, Baleba, Adam Walton midfield, again, you got 3 left-footed players, so you probably, I know Kobbie's there, but if you want to balance it out, the ideal for me, as I said before, is Camavinga, Sandro Tonali, as 2 definite ones, and then the third one, if we could get an Adam Walton or a Baleba with it. But if we can't get Camavinga, then for me, I've always said it's got to be Baleba, Adam Walton, and Sandro Tonali for me. I'll be very happy with that. But Camavinga, high interception and tackle numbers, 89 plus, which is good. Fewer goal contributions compared to both Vitinha and Pedri, but he's key at defensive and being a ball carrier. Now, again, the ball carrying thing for me is a massive thing, which is what Camavinga is going to bring, because if you do study football like this, and I'm pretty sure you do, being a ball carrier, yeah, it opens up so many different advantages to your team. If you've got someone that is adept at carrying the ball from deep in midfield, it opens up different pictures in the game where you can keep dribbling with the ball, and then you can slide someone in, and it means that when you're ball carrying from deep, you're now forcing the opposition, to try and close you down, which means it's going to create space for your teammates, and someone like a ball carrier like Camavinga, he can also play as well. So you're actually getting 2 in 1. And if I look at the players that are on this list, yeah, you've got literally all 5 of them in a different way are all ball carriers. Caicedo and Camavinga's one is you'd probably say is more on the physical and on the physicality side of it. And then you've got Pedri and Vitinha, obviously, because they're both diminutive in size. You know, their one's more intricate, you know, in terms of their ball carrying. And then you got Sandro Tonali. Again, he's probably a bit more of a powerhouse in that sense, you know what I mean? But all five of them can ball carry. It just depends what kind of ball carry you want. And I think in the Premier League, you know, this is why for me, Baleba should be that kind of signing, because I look at our midfield now and we need someone of legs in there, you know, someone with physicality and legs. And then once you sort that out, you go and get the controller. And I look at Camavinga, yeah, and he can do both sides. He can control, and he's got the physicality as well to be a ball carrier, you know. And again, he's key defensive at being a ball carrier and has a high ground duel success rate as well, which again is going to be key in the Premier League. You know, I think if we're looking at Pedri and we're looking at Caicedo, I think because of the way this league's being played now, those guys will be getting pressured all over the place. But the problem is, because these guys are so technically gifted and so high in IQ, you know, getting the ball off a Pedri is the challenge, you know, because if you watch Pedri up against Newcastle, now I've watched both games when they played Newcastle in the group stage and then just recently when they played them in the Champions League, yeah. And the first game, he was the best player on the pitch by an absolute mile. The second game, he was also very good before he come off. And the thing with Pedri, yeah, is that this is a guy that hasn't got physicality. But the thing is, his brain, the way he can protect the ball, is what makes him stand out, you know, and consistently, you know, he does that, you know, even up against Joe Linton. Look how big Joe Linton is and the way that Pedri was just holding him off with ease, really. And the thing with what I like about Pedri, he's like another Jack Grealish. When these guys don't give the ball away, and if the ball does get given away by them, it's usually a foul, you know, and these kind of skills are underrated, you know. But again, Camavinga's one will be more of a powerhouse, you know what I mean, in there, but he can play, you know, and this is why for me, if there's any chance that we can get Camavinga, we need to be literally all over that. Moving on to Vitinha, you know, arguably in many people's eyes, probably the #1 central midfielder in the world right now. 6 goals, 10 assists in 25 games. I think it's a career high for him as well in terms of his assists. He dominates in big chances as well. So he's got 11 big chances, and his parking accuracy is 93%, which again is not really a surprise because when you watch Vitinha, just like Pedri, these guys just don't give the ball away. You know what I mean? And again, these guys don't have the physicality. They don't have the pace, but it's the football intelligence and the brain. And as I said, you got 2 players there for me that are definitely amongst the best in the world, man. No doubt. And I think the majority of people, I think if you used to ask them to rank these players in order, you know, for me, Pedri and Vitinha will be, you know, at a minimum 3rd. I think that's fair to say, you know. And then we've got Sandro Tonali. You know, Sandro Tonali is probably, I think, in terms of when people mention the best midfielders in the world, I think he's overlooked. And the only reason he's probably overlooked is because he's playing for Newcastle. Because if he was playing for, you know, one of the teams that are going for Champions League or Premier League, you know, he'll be looked at a lot more. And again, Tonali's a top 6, top 4 title-winning player, midfielder, no doubt. And again, he's ball-winning. You know, the fact that he can control the midfield as well, and his attacking threat is what any new team that he does go to, if Newcastle do part ways, obviously going to cost a lot of money, they'll be getting that, you know. And again, he's Newcastle's best player for me. He's their best midfielder, their best player. And do I see him being at Newcastle next season? I think at least 1 or 2 teams are going to test Newcastle's resolve over him, because he's someone that needs to be playing Champions League football. And it's quite, well, I mean, it's going to be quite clear that Newcastle are not going to be playing Champions League football next season. So he needs to be moving on personally, you know. And again, I'd love Man United to try and get Tonali, but it's going to be difficult. But he's a top player, man, anyway. And what I've done, I've noted down, guys, yeah, just some of the key attributes for these midfielders, just to see where they rank. So we've got passing accuracy, ball recovery, dual success, interceptions, and tackles. The reason why I've left out their attacking stats here is because the eye test never fails. And if you look at the, if you just go by the eye test, you will see just what top players these are. So I think it's important to look at the other attributes to see if your eye test is stacking up to what it is, which I'll get onto. Let me just go through some of the questions and comments. As I said, big up to all the mods, big up to everyone. Guys, make sure you are smashing the likes. Make sure you are subbing to the channel as well. So, how should sign Xhaka if Bruno G leaves, or at least try to get Jordan Hendo? I mean, if Bruno Guimaraes leaves, I think as a fan base, Newcastle fan base, I don't think they'll be happy with the likes of them going for a Henderson. You know, I think Henderson is a decent player, but he's not someone that's going to take Newcastle to the next level. And again, he's getting on a bit as well. And then Granit Xhaka, is he going to leave Sunderland after one season? It's unlikely. But I think if Bruno Guimaraes was to leave, you know, you'd probably trust Newcastle's scouting department to look at the next Bruno Guimaraes in a sense. So again, I don't see them going for Xhaka or Henderson. I mean, these two players are leaders, but you don't really bring in those two players to replace Bruno Guimaraes for me, you know, because I don't think the fan base will be happy with that personally. You know, you'll be looking at the next up and coming player or someone that is rated probably a bit lower than what he is, you know. But big up to Lumi Rain, big up yourself. Don't worry, Lumi, I'll be watching that 5:30 kick, that 5 o'clock kickoff, Arsenal Everton, man, because I reckon it's going to be a tough game for Arsenal, you know. Pedri and Vitinha are basically a tie. I just give Pedri the highest spot as he probs has a higher ceiling because plays next to De Jong. And again, De Jong's someone that easily could have been featuring in this as well. And what I would say is that, yeah, I think with Pedri and Vitinha, there is nothing in it really. You know, this is why I love doing things like this, because putting these guys from 1 to 5, it's not going to be nice putting anyone at 5th. You know what I mean? Even the person that is probably 1st, you know, they could arguably be 2nd or 3rd. That is how high the quality between these five are, you know. Why sign Tonali when you can get Ryan Gravenberch? You know what? Yeah, big up, because Ryan Gravenberch was the midfielder that, you know, I said all along we need to go and sign. And the reason for that is because if you watch Ryan Gravenberch playing for Ajax, we was actually linked to Gravenberch, just like Barcelona was. And then they were saying that there was talk that Ryan Gravenberch is going to be the next Paul Pogba, even though there ain't no next Paul Pogba. But I could see the comparison in the sense of, you know, Gravenberch's height, the way that he plays. But in terms of Paul Pogba, yeah, Paul Pogba stands alone, man, with the kind of attributes and the kind of player that he was. But I watched Gravenberch a lot. You know, I watched Gravenberch when Ajax went on that mad Champions League run as well, and he was instrumental for them. And you know, I was always hoping that United went and got Gravenberch before he went to Bayern Munich, and obviously Liverpool signed him after Bayern Munich, man. So that's a deal now that is just dead in the water. But we should have signed Gravenberch when he was leaving Ajax, and that is where doing your homework on a player and just having people in place to see talent like that, because he's one of the best midfielders in the world, Gravenberch. And again, I could have easily put him in this list, but I was trying to narrow it down because there was a few other players, but I narrowed it down to the 5. And these 5 for me are the best midfielders in the world right now. So yeah, but Gravenberch is a top player, man, no doubt. Yeah, I think Lumi's drinking again, guys. Raya reminds me of Oliver Kahn. That means you haven't seen Oliver Kahn then. Yeah, listen. Um, Gravenberch was a 10 for Ajax, but he made a good decision to join the biggest soccer club in Britain, so signing for Ten Hag. Gravenberch wasn't a 10 for Ajax. I don't know where that's come from. That's just made up. He wasn't a 10. There's a reason why he wore number 8 on his back as well for Ajax. But Gravenberch was a number 8 central midfielder. Never played a 10. Dusan Tadic played as a 10 when Gravenberch was there. So yeah, let's stop making up stuff and let's come correct, man, with these comparisons. He never played as a 10. Yeah, Fitz, I was about to say the same thing before I see your question, before I see your comment. Yeah, there are some mad questions and comments in there today. Guys, if you're gonna come on there and just talk nonsense, yeah, then as I said, man, go and find another channel for that. I only want to have serious conversations because Gravenberch was never a 10 for Ajax. I don't know where that's come from. That's just made up. You know what I mean? So let's do better, man. Come on. Enzo Fernandez is a 30 million player. Not enough to talk about him being a flop. I mean, to be honest with you, yeah, Enzo Fernandez is a weird player because when he came through at Benfica, you know, he was playing more defensive. You know, for me, he's a proper central midfield player. He's not a 10, and you'd probably say he's not a defensive player. He's a number 8. Obviously, that's the reason why he wears number 8 on his back for Chelsea as well. But what I would say, in terms of him being a flop, the fact that he cost £100 million, you'll have to say that he's a flop based on that, because he's not going to repay that money back for me for Chelsea, because when someone costs £100 million, you know, they have to be winning Champions Leagues or league titles for their team. Chelsea are a long way off winning the Premier League title, and they're a long way off winning the Champions League with him being there. So, I mean, in terms of his numbers are actually quite decent. I mean, I'm not sure what his numbers are saying, but I think they're quite decent. But in terms of him being a £30 million player, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say he's a £30 million player. He's probably in this, if we're being serious, yeah, I'd probably say he's a £50 million player. But there's no way he's a £100 million player, because it depends what you're basing it on. Now, if we're basing it on numbers, he's actually got better numbers than Declan Rice, and Declan Rice cost 100 million. So again, if we're going to say he's been a flop based off what, we have to kind of put Declan Rice in the conversation as well, because Declan Rice, again, until he wins a Premier League or a Champions League with Arsenal, we have to consider him being a flop as well, because he cost 100 million. So that's where it is. And again, the fact that Declan Rice is getting a new contract and he hasn't won nothing yet, it just shows you that Arsenal are just completely they're completely mad, really, because how can you give someone a new contract, yeah? And there's talk about him getting a new contract on the same money as Bukayo Saka. So you're going to give 600 grand a week to two players, yeah, that have won nothing at Arsenal. Again, I'm not surprised, but it's the standards of the club. The standards are in the bin. So I've never seen 600 grand be given to two players, yeah, and you haven't won a Champions League or a league title yet. So what happens now when you guys fail and you don't win either? So you're just paying players 600 grand for what? For what reason? For a laugh? Like, the whole thing's just embarrassing, man. Like, I see the Declan Rice contract, and I purposely didn't want to talk about it because I just don't understand how you can give someone like Declan Rice. I mean, what's even more worse than this, yeah, is that when you're giving out 300 grand a week, 350 a week, yeah, you would assume that you're giving it to, you know, proper footballers, like top echelon players, the likes of the Pedris, the Vitinhas that we're talking about, the Yamals, you know what I mean? The Harry Kanes, the Elises, you know, players like that are just pure high on quality. £300 to a guy that £300, it should be £300. 300 grand to a player that just eats up grass and gets around the pitch. Like it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I just don't get it, man. But the thing is, I'm past the point of getting it because Arsenal are not a serious club anyway. You know, they're not a serious club. Like Bukayo Saka, you know, 300 grand a week for scoring 6 Premier League goals. Declan Rice, 300 grand a week for running around. And the thing is, the only reason why this talk is about that these players are good is because currently Arsenal are top of the league. That's all it is. As soon as Arsenal get knocked off the top of the league by Man City and they're out the Champions League, it's gonna make the club look silly, man. I'm telling you, because I just don't know where this club's going with this, man. It's mad. Hey, Lumi, that's not clickbait, man. That's just delusion. It's not clickbait. Because how can you mention David Raya and Oliver Kahn in the same sentence? I don't get it. How can you mention him in the same sentence? Like if you said David Raya and I don't know, Jordan Pickford, I'd hear it. You know what I mean? But to mention David Raya and Oliver Kahn, like, what's the criteria? Because if it's winning things, then how have you made this one up? Rice clears Caicedo on my life. Listen, don't do that again. Don't ever do that again, Lumi. You think Rice clears Caicedo? What the thing is, yeah, let me ask you a question, actually. Since you like asking me questions, yeah? Lumi, let me know in the chat. What is Declan Rice better than at Caicedo? What is he better than? As to why you think he's better. Let me know. What do you actually think Declan Rice is better than that and then Caicedo at? Genuine question. Because I would like to find out. Because I want to get involved in the actual delusion. So let me know why you think Declan Rice is better than Caicedo. What is he better than him at? Okay, so he's better at set pieces and leadership. Okay. So let's dissect this, yeah? He's better at set pieces. Okay. So if you want to have he's the best corner taker in the world, cool. I've never heard it being the best corner taker in the world, but if you want to have that, set pieces. He scored 2 free kicks against Real Madrid last season that he's never ever going to replicate again. So that's fake. Leadership. Well, I swear being part of a leadership means that you've got to lead your team to trophies, surely. Just saying. So I think the set pieces one is a reach, but if you want to say that he's a better set piece taker than Caicedo, well, Caicedo don't take set pieces, so I don't know how you can compare that one, but I hear it. Leadership, I mean, well, if he's a leader, let's see if he leads his team to Premier League and a Champions League, and then we can have that conversation. Because the only thing he's led at the moment, yeah, was West Ham to a Europa League. So if you want to say he's a leader, yeah, for West Ham, but not for Arsenal. Just saying. Let's move on anyway. The other attributes are similar. No way. Sounds like Rice is a Poundland bootleg Beckham to me. Boy. I was going to say a bootleg Darren Anton. You know what I mean? To put Beckham and Rice in the same combo. Yeah, man. Yeah, let's not do that, Fitz, man. Come on. Darren Anderton is more the level, man, I would say. Anyway, so guys, we're going to go on to the passing accuracy, ball recoveries, dual success, interceptions, and the tackles for these players. Yeah. So I'll put them in order. So pass accuracy, you've got Vitinha in first place on 94%. Camavinga second on 93%. Moises Caicedo is third on 92%. Pedri's fourth on 91%. And then quite a bit of a distance from those 4 players, Sandro Tonali on 85%. Now, the Tonali one, I would say, is a bit of a surprise because Tonali does keep the ball. But the fact that, you know, you've got the hustle and bustle of the Premier League, yeah. But then again, Caicedo's playing there as well. So I think the reason why Tonali's one is probably a bit lower than the other 4 is probably because Newcastle have probably struggled a lot more than these other teams, you know. And again, Camavinga hasn't been fit for the entire season, so it might look slightly better than that, better than the others as well. But 85% for Tonali. These guys are all in the high 80s anyway, or surpassing that. So that is probably to be expected, which is fair enough. Ball recoveries, Caicedo 360 in first place, Tonali second in 185, Pedri third 150, Vitinha fourth 126, Camavinga 61 in fifth. Now again, obviously Camavinga obviously is bottom of the pile, but again, he's hardly played. And Caicedo's leading it by an absolute mile. And again, when you watch Caicedo, that is one of his biggest strengths, in being able to win the ball back and then set his team up for an attack. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that stat really. And Tonali second, which again, I see that because you see a lot of what Tonali does. But I think what that shows you as well is that how the Premier League is, because when you've got the 2 players that are 1 and 2 in Caicedo and Tonali that are leading the stats for ball recoveries, it kind of shows you how the Premier League is being played this season. A lot of turnovers, you know what I mean? So, which ain't good, because Pedri, Vitinha, Camavinga obviously a bit different because he hasn't been playing, but Pedri and Vitinha are playing for teams that want to keep the ball. You know what I mean? So, as I said, man, it's there. Them ones there a bit. They're not really surprising, really. You know. Dual success. So you've got Camavinga in first on 64%, Pedri in second on 62%, Vitinha in third on 59%, Moises Caicedo in fourth on 57%, Sandro Tonali in fifth on 51%. And again, they're all quite similar. You know, the dual success heads it by Camavinga. You know, I'm surprised Caicedo's not higher than a Pedri, really. I thought Caicedo would have been a lot higher, but yeah, that is surprising. And then you got interceptions, guys. Caicedo in first on 31%, Vitinha second in 24, Tonali on 12, Pedri 11, Camavinga on 10. Now again, yeah, as I said, I would have thought. In actual fact, nah, you know what? I'm actually like thinking that is probably obvious, or that is straightforward as to that order, really. You know, it's not really a surprise. And again, obviously, some of them players have been out injured as well, like Camavinga. So that's probably why. Well, but him, Pedri, and Tonali are all quite similar anyway. There's only like a couple. There's only like 2 in it, really. Tackles, Caicedo 174, Camavinga 51, Pedri 26, Tonali 21, Vitinha 20. Now, again, what the eye test will tell you that Caicedo does put a lot of challenges in, which so it ain't really a surprise. And then you got Vitinha, really, who's probably more, as you can see by the fact that he's second, is more of an interceptor, you know. And then you got Pedri's in third in tackles, but Barca dominate the ball anyway, so you're not really going to see Pedri sliding all over the place trying to win the ball back. Tonali, I would have thought would have been quite higher, but Camavinga's in 51, in second place on 51. So again, you've got the likes of Caicedo, who tops a lot of the defensive attributes. So he tops the ball recovery, he tops the interceptions and the tackles, which is what I'm seeing with my eyes anyway. In terms of his passing, he's third. In terms of his dual success, he's fourth. So again, he's quite an all-rounded player, Moises Caicedo. Vitinha tops the passing accuracy. He's third in dual success, second in interceptions, fourth in ball recoveries, and then last in tackles. And again, the one he tops is what is to be expected, the passing accuracy, and the fact that as a midfielder, you know, he's going to be very high on the duels anyway, you know. Pedri is fourth in pass accuracy. And the fact that he's fourth, I don't think it's nothing to take away because he's on 91% anyway. And the three that are higher than him, 92, 93, 94. So that's nothing to kind of take away from that. Ball recoveries, third. Dual success is second. Interceptions, fourth. Tackles, third. So, yeah, again, all-rounded, really, Pedri. But as we know, is more of a technician as it stands anyway. You know what I mean? So, and then Samuel Tonali is bottom in pass accuracy, second in ball recoveries, bottom in dual success, third in interceptions, and then he's fourth in tackles. And again, a lot of that will be down to the fact that Newcastle have struggled this season, which means that a lot of these defensive attributes come into question there, really come into play there, you know. And then you've got Eduardo Camavinga. So Camavinga, 93% pass accuracy in second, bottom in ball recoveries, top in dual success, bottom in interceptions, and then second in tackles. So again, another all-rounded player and a guy that hasn't really played too much this season because of the injuries. But again, he's a player that is overlooked because of the injuries. But you can clearly see that he's someone, Eduardo Camavinga, that if he gets back up to full fitness and can keep himself fit, you're looking at a clear world beater there. No doubt. He's a clear world beater, you know, and that's why he's in this conversation, because I don't think there's many people that are talking about him as being one of the best in the world. But that five there, I'm confident that they're the five best midfielders in the world. And there is probably a few other players that might get spoken about, but there's no way I can look past those five for me, you know. Let's go through the chat. Guys, let me know your order as well. Where do you rank these players in order? I know Fitz has put his one down already. Gav, what's your Arsenal and Everton prediction? 1-1. I'm going to say 1-1. I think Everton scored a first goal as well. Yeah. But saying that as well, yeah, put it this way, yeah, I'm going to go 1-1. But I actually got a feeling, yeah, I've actually got a feeling that Everton might win this game. I think Everton might win this game. Because I'm looking at the first game at Goodison, but at Everton's new stadium, yeah. And that was only won by a set piece. And the set piece, I believe, was scored by, was it Mikel Merino that scored the set piece? And obviously he's out injured. Was it Merino or Calafiori? Can't remember. One of them two scored. But one of them two are not going to, well, I think both of them are not going to play. So what I would say, that was a tight game. You know, obviously there's no Jack Grealish playing, but you got Iliman Ndiaye, Dewsbury Hall, Tierno Barry, Idrissa Gueye, Iro Egbenham might play, or James Garner. And again, they're going to be rested. So I believe David Moyes is going to set up in the way to nullify Arsenal. And I think Arsenal's best chance of this game is getting a set piece. And as I said, Everton have got physical threats in the air anyway. You know, they've got Tarkowski, they've got Tierno Barry, they've got Iro Egbenham, who's quite big, who's quite a tall player as well. I think Jake O'Brien might be back. You know, he's dominant in the air. Michael Keane might play, or Braithwaite might play. Both of them are good in the air as well. So again, I think from set pieces, I don't think Arsenal are going to do anything against them set piece wise, or from corners. I think they're going to hold their own. And I think Everton might have something up their sleeve, man. So I'm going to say a draw, 1-1 draw. But don't be surprised, yeah, if Everton win the game, because as I keep saying, man, they've had to play a full strength team against Bayer Leverkusen, and they've got to play that in the next 3 games. So I think these players are going to be feeling it, you know. So let's see what happens. But I'm going to say 1-1 as a safe result. Was Nicky Butt and Phil Neville underrated? Yeah, they were, to be fair. They were. I think if you're looking at put it this way, yeah, put it this way. You're looking at someone like Manuel Ugarte. That tells you its own story. Because Nicky Butt and Phil Neville both clear him. You know what I mean? Phil Neville was actually a better footballer than his brother Gary. Phil Neville was actually better. But Gary Neville's got the bigger name. You know what I mean? But Phil Neville was actually a better player. You know? But Gary Neville maximized his career, man. He did. Yeah, Phil was better than Gary. He was more versatile. Obviously, he played right back, left back, centre mid. You know, Gary Neville was just the right back. Obviously, started his career as a centre back. But yeah, he was better than Gary. He's better than his brother Gary Neville, man, for sure. Yeah, I agree, Fitz. Nicky Butt would. He would. And that tells you everything because there was no, like, Nicky Butt at never any stage was regarded as one of the best midfielders in Europe. You know what I mean? But he was still a very good midfielder. And in this era of football now, he'll definitely command a place in the midfield easily. And again, that just shows you how much the levels dropped off. Just shows you how much it's dropped off. So yeah. So again, from last season, guys, yeah, Caicedo leads in tackles in the Premier League. You know, Pedri's improved in his assists. Vitinha's improved in his playmaking. Camavinga's improved in his pass accuracy and has maintained an elite dual success. And Tonali's increased in his durability and his match volume. So again, 5 top players. Yeah, 5 top players that, as I say, ranking them is difficult. I'm going to give my order in what I think. So for me, I'm going to say first is Pedri. You know, I don't think it's much of a surprise. I rate Pedri highly. So first for me is Pedri. Second for me is Camavinga. So Pedri, Camavinga, Vitinha in third. Caicedo in fourth. Tonali fifth. Yeah. And again, like, just because you're fifth, yeah, doesn't mean that you're lost. It's just a difficult order. But yeah, Pedri number 1 for me. Camavinga 2. Vitinha 3. Caicedo 4. Tonali 5. Yeah, I'm happy with that, man. But that is a difficult list to compile because that's 5 top midfielders there, and they're the best midfielders in the world for me. You know, no doubt. But anyway, guys, let's move it on. Let's move it on to Man United versus Aston Villa tomorrow. What is the actual kickoff time tomorrow, guys? Anyone know? I can't remember the kickoff time. Is it a late game or early game? Is it a late game? Two o'clock, yeah. Okay. Now this is going to be a tough game. You know, I know. There's fans out there that think that we're going to just sweep Aston Villa to the side because of their form, because of the fact that they've played in midweek as well. But I genuinely think, yeah, we should win this game. But something's just telling me we're going to get a draw from it. Something's telling me we're going to get a draw because I've got a feeling that Unai Emery, he's going to set the team up, yeah, to at least get a draw. To at least get a draw. I think he's going to set them up in that way because he knows that he cannot afford, with this Champions League race going on at the moment. Let's have a look at the league table, actually, just while I'm here. Because Liverpool are playing... Right, so let's have a look here. So So Villa are in 4th place, yeah, on 34 points. Sorry, 34 points on 51 points. Now, if Villa get a draw, yeah, because Villa and United are both on the same points. Villa get a draw, it keeps them in touching distance with Man United, yeah. But then Chelsea are actually playing today. So Chelsea are playing Newcastle at home, which won't be easy. But if Chelsea win that game, they're on 51 points. Liverpool are playing Tottenham, yeah. They should beat Tottenham. They're on 51 points. So for me, you could have, yeah, between 6 in Liverpool and Man United in 3rd. If tomorrow's games are draw, you could have a point between 3rd and 6th. And I think that's what Aston Villa will be looking at, because Aston Villa will know that if they lose the game, they could drop as far as 6. What's the goal difference saying? 5. Yeah. So Aston Villa know if they lose and Chelsea and Liverpool both win, they could drop as far as 6. And I think based on that, yeah, I can see Unai Emery setting up in a way to try and at least get a draw to keep them involved. Because after that, I believe their next league game, Aston Villa, I think they might even have an affordable game next after this. Who they got next? So they got West Ham at home, and they'll be looking at that game as 3 points. I mean, I know West Ham they're in decent form, but I think that game they'll be targeting as 3 points. But they're gonna know that going to Manchester United, they need to at least leave there with at least a point, you know. But yeah, as I said, man, I think we definitely should be, going there to win the game. But I'm gonna say now, I'm gonna say a draw. I'm gonna say a draw because I just got a feeling that Emery's gonna try and set up in a way, man, to try and contain United. And they have got threats on the counter, Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins' pace, Woods. I'm not sure if Sancho's going to play, fine enough, or is he? I don't think Sancho can play against Man United, so I don't know if he's going to play. But they got Leon Bailey. I know Leon Bailey's hit and miss, but he might play. So I think they might set up for a counter attack and look at the first game against United as as their way to try and get a result. So yeah, I'm going to say 1-1. What team do I think Carrick's going to play? You know, one thing for me, yeah, I'll be pissed off, in fact, yeah. I'll be pissed off if he decides to go with the front three of Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko. I'll be pissed off because that front three is not going to work. It's just not going to work. And the thing is, Carrick for me was an intelligent midfielder. So I think Carrick is not gonna. I think Carrick's gonna learn quickly because that front three doesn't work with Mbeumo, Sesko, and Cunha because there's no pivot. There's no one that can link the play there because that isn't Sesko's game. Sesko's someone that he needs that. He likes to play on the shoulder, and if you're getting balls put into the box, then that's when he comes alive. But when you've got inverted forwards like Mbeumo and Cunha, these guys' their job ain't to put the ball into the box like that, So, whereas if you've got an Ahmad there, or even if you wanted to play Bruno Fernandes as a right winger to put balls into the box for Sesko, it will work. So again, if they were to swap the positions of Bruno and let's say an Ahmad, it would work better for Sesko because as we know with Sesko likes to swing balls into the box. I mean, Bruno Fernandes likes to spam balls into the box, which will work for Sesko. So maybe that would be something to think about. But if he goes with, I think Mbeumo actually gets dropped. I think he gets dropped because the fact that United lost, Carrick can't really continue with this. I'm going to keep playing the same team until we lose. So I think he actually drops. I think he actually drops Sesko. Drops Mbeumo. Sorry. And plays Ahmad, Cunha, and Sesko. I think Sesko starts tomorrow, or if he does the unthinkable and plays Mbeumo through the middle, and then plays Ahmad from the right and Cunha, and Ahmad from the right, Mbeumo and Cunha, I don't like because Mbeumo's not a false nine. He can't hold the ball. Ahmad, Sesko, and Cunha is better than Mbeumo, Sesko, and Cunha. But, you know, I want to see Ahmad, Xerxes, Cunha. That's what I want to see because that's got a bit of everything. You know, you got Cunha, who's the maverick, Ahmad, you know, who's a ball player, and then you got Joshua Xerxes that can link the play and bring others into the game. So yeah, that's what I want to see, man. But I think he's going to play more or less the same kind of team he's been playing. Lamens in goal. I think Mazraoui starts tomorrow. I think Mazraoui will come in for Dallo. I believe. I think coming in for Dallo. I think Luke Shaw will start because Luke Shaw's not injured. I think he was ill, so Luke Shaw will be at left back. With Mazraoui right back, I think he's going to go that way. And I think the reason he plays Luke Shaw at left back as well is because if I'm looking at what's going to be on that side from Aston Villa, you're looking at probably Leon Bailey and then I think Luke Shaw is more than capable of handling Leon Bailey. So I think that's going to be the counter for that. Centre back, again, De Ligt's still out. Heaven's not going to start. Lissandro's still out. I think he plays Maguire and Yoro again. I know you I think Maguire was someone that was suffering with illness as well. But I think it's Yoro. I think it's Yoro and Maguire again. I want to actually see him though, yeah. I want to see Carrick play Yoro on the right-hand side of the defense. And which I think he will, because I think Yoro needs to make up for the Morgan Rogers for what Rogers done last time, and obviously Rogers will be playing, you believe, from that left-hand side. Which obviously, if Yoro's on the right, he can engage him on there as well. The midfield two, I mean, it's going to be Casemiro and Kobe. Yeah, no problems there. Bruno's going to play in the 10, and then as I say, the front three. It has to be for me, Ahmad. Again, I want to see Xerxes play, if I'm honest, as the false nine, but I don't think he's going to start Xerxes. You know, if he was to start Xerxes, then I'll be like, yeah, Carrick, man, you've made a very good choice there. But I want to see Ahmad, Xerxes, Cunha, but I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play Cunha, Sesko, Ahmad, or he might play Ahmad, Mbeumo, Cunha. You know what I think he's going to do? You know what I think he's going to do, actually? I think he's going to play Ahmad, Mbeumo, and Cunha. Because I'm looking at Aston Villa centre-backs, yeah? It's going to be Ezri Konsa, and it probably might be Tyrone Mings, because Pau Torres played in midweek, yeah? Now, you've got two defenders there in Konsa and Mings, who are going to be physical with the striker. So I think Carrick might be looking at it as thinking he'd rather play Mbeumo through the middle. That's not going to stay up there and battle with the strikers, whereas Sesko might play more as that kind of player. So I've got a feeling he plays Mbeumo through the middle tomorrow, which means Sesko and Xerxes on the bench. Just got a feeling. But yeah, the team I'd play, as I said, would be the front three I'd play would be Ahmad, Cunha, and Xerxes. You know, and I think Aston Villa's team, you know, he's going to play Unai Emery. I think he plays. I'm not sure if Matty Cash is out injured. I'm not sure, but if Matty Cash ain't injured, then it'll be Martinez in goal. I think Cash right back. If Cash doesn't play, I think Bogard goes in at right back. Left back. Left back for Villa be interesting because if it's Ahmad or Mbeumo, you know, I think he might play Maatsen because he probably look at Maatsen as being more capable than, or can, you know, he can compete with the pace of Ahmad and Mbeumo probably a bit better than what Lucas Digne will be. So I think he might play Maatsen left back, and then centre back. If he does play Maatsen, It'd be Ezri Konsa, and I think he might play. Do you know what? He might play Pau Torres again because they had a clean sheet in midweek. You know, it just depends what he. It just depends what Unai Emery wants, how Unai Emery sees it, because I don't think he plays Pau Torres and Lucas Digne against United because there's not much pace there. So I think either Maatsen or Mings will play, and they'll base it off that. The midfield, you know, John McGinn's back fit now, but I don't know. I don't think McGinn starts, but I think he plays Amadou Onana, Douglas Luiz. So yeah, I reckon he could play Amadou Onana, Douglas Luiz in the midfield, Morgan Rogers in the 10, Buendia on the left, or other way around. Probably Leon Bailey on the right, because I don't think Sancho can play. And then Ollie Watkins through the middle. I think that's how he might play. And again, you know, it's not going to be an easy game for United, you know, but I'd expect us to win the game because we're going to be fresh. But something's telling me that Unai Emery is going to get a point off Michael Carrick because of how tight the league is, you know. So that's how I can see it going, man. You know, guys, let me know in the chat what you think the score is going to be. I'm going to say 1-1, United and Aston Villa. You reckon Bowen be gone from West Ham next season? It's difficult, really, because if West Ham get relegated, I think he goes. I don't think at this stage of his career, you know, he'll want to be playing in the Championship. Obviously, trying to enhance his England prospects, really. But it's difficult because some of the factors that we've mentioned already, you know, it's one of them things where, yeah, I just think that, yeah, it's going to be difficult for him to leave. He's the captain. You know, he's arguably rated as their best player. You know, he scores goals for them, so it's difficult, really. But if you're Jared Bowen, why would you want to be playing the Championship at the age of 30? You know, when you're an England international as well. So that's what's going to come into question. But I don't really know, man. We'll have to wait and see. Have to wait and see. Two-one for Fitz. Yep. What 2-1 United? You're saying, Fitz? Yeah. 2-1 United. Yeah, bro. I mean, to be honest, man. I mean, I'm hoping United win the game. I just can't. I just got a feeling, man, that Emery's going to pick up a point, man. I just got a feeling. Just got a feeling. I understand. Obviously, midweek they played, etc. But the fact that they come away from Lille in France, not conceding a goal, the 3 points, the confidence will be up, and I just think based on the other teams, Liverpool and Chelsea, like Chelsea playing today, yeah. If Chelsea win, they're on joint points, and that's going to put the pressure on Villa and United. And I think Emery takes that into account, where he might just set up a bit defensively, you know. Yeah, and it does. Manager experience does matter, because what's Aston Villa's last few? Let me check it. So Aston Villa's last 2 results, yeah, has been. So Aston Villa's last 2 results, they got battered 4-1 by Chelsea at home, and then they lost 2-0 to Wolves away. So again, their last 2 games they've lost. Yeah, he's gonna want to probably set up, yeah, so that they at least come away with a point. That's my thinking behind it. So yeah, I think he picks up a point, man, for me personally, you know. But who knows? Who knows? But yeah, if we're serious and we want this Champions League, we have to be winning this game, no problem, man. Like, just go in there and then putting our stamp on the game and just coming away with the 3 points. That's the thing, but we'll have to wait and see, man. But guys, it's not. We're gonna wrap it up anyway. Big up to yourselves for coming on each and every time. Make sure you're smashing the like button as well. Make sure you're subbing to the channel. And again, I'm gonna watch this Arsenal and Everton game at 5 o'clock. And as I said, guys, I'm gonna predict now. I'm gonna say Everton come away with at least a point. At least a point. Everton come away with. Yeah. So whether it's 1-1, maybe they win 1-0, who knows? But I think they come away with something. So that's what I'm gonna go for. So yeah, we'll see, man. And obviously tomorrow, I might do a reaction to the Man United and Aston Villa game. Not sure yet, but as always, we are going to be live on Monday anyway at 5:30. And obviously, we're going to do our next week. We're going to do the Chelsea all-time 11. We're probably going to do that on Wednesday. Obviously, Champions League night. Probably do it on Wednesday rather than the Thursday this week. So yeah, yeah, keep an eye on that anyway. But other than that, guys, big up to yourselves. Make sure you're smashing the like button. Make sure you sub into the channel. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.